So on Tuesday, Apple hosted their California Dreaming event, and at this event they introduced not one but two new iPads. Well, basically a refresh of the base iPad and a major redesign for the iPad mini. And I intend to cover those relatively fast in the next couple of minutes. So let's cue the intro and let's get started. First up, we have the base iPad, which had a tremendous year according to Apple. It has a 40% growth year over year in terms of sales, and Apple didn't really need to rock the boat here, especially in terms of the pricing. You see, the base iPad has been one of the tech industry's best deals over the past few years, with its starting price of $329, and Apple didn't need to change that. And they did exactly that. They kept the price the same while doing some minor updates to the iPad to keep it competitive and relevant going forward. The exterior design was kept the exact same as before. Most of the changes are under the hood, except for a couple on the front. So first up, we have the new 12 megapixel ultra-wide camera that supports center stage functionality, which is super cool. I mean, center stage was introduced in spring for the iPad Pro, and obviously that's a much more expensive device. For Apple to bring it to the base iPad, that's a really bold move and shows to me that they listened to a lot of the feedback. If you had watched a ton of reviews on the iPad Pro back in spring, everybody lauded this. Basically, center stage, as the name kind of implies, keeps you centered in the image during video calls, allowing you to move about the room, and it's a great functionality. It's been very well received, and I'm super glad Apple included it here. The display received a mild improvement, basically the addition of True Tone. I was hoping for them to add a laminated display to the base iPad, but it seems it's not in the card for this year. And internally, there's two big changes. The A13 chip replaced the previous A12 Bionic, and the base storage was increased from 32GB to 64GB, so that's pretty neat all in all. I'm gonna say Apple did exactly what they needed to do with the base iPad. They needed to keep it relevant. They needed to keep it ahead of the competition pretty much. The A13 is still a very speedy chip compared to a lot of its competition. The price is relevant here because that price is usually discounted by retailers during promotional sales or season sales or so on. So you're gonna see the iPad more or less for $270, $280, maybe $250 on occasion. So that's still a fantastic deal for a very good device that's being refreshed and kept up to date. So good news there. Next up, we have the iPad mini, which is the biggest redesign that Apple introduced during California Dreaming. iPad mini now kind of looks like an iPad Air mini, more or less, because it has the same look, so the same angular kind of design that was introduced way back in 2018 for the iPad Pro, which has been also adopted by the iPad Air. Well, it's now being adopted by the iPad mini, and from the same iPad Air, it retains the fingerprint sensor mounted in the power button. With the redesign, Apple shortened the bezels, made the display 8.3 inches in diagonal, so pretty sizable increase right there. It's also a little bit of a powerhouse. It's powered by the same A15 chip like the iPhones, for instance. Apple is pretty tight-lipped about RAM and that sort of stuff, but through their demo, throughout their presentation, it does seem that the iPad mini is powerful enough, or actually more than powerful enough. I'm a bit disappointed by the screen brightness. So the peak brightness is about 500 nits, which actually isn't fantastic in my opinion, but hey, I had to pick on something. It also supports 5G, it also gets new cameras, a 12 megapixel ultra wide in the front and a 12 megapixel rear sensor as well. It supports center stage just like the base iPad. It also supports the Apple Pencil Gen 2. It has stereo speakers in landscape mode. All in all, quite a compelling package for a smaller iPad that packs quite a punch. Oh, and you know what else is cool? It dropped Lightning in favor of USB-C. Yeah, so while the base iPad and the iPhone retain Lightning, Apple here introduced USB-C on the iPad mini and was not shy at all about saying what the benefits are, quoting much higher transfer speeds and the like. I don't really understand why they're postponing this moment for the iPhone. I get it why they kept it in the case of the base iPad. They needed to keep the pricing as low as possible, so as few changes as possible in order to achieve that. But I don't understand why they're keeping it away from the iPhone. So all in all, the mini, as I've said, is a very compelling package. I think it's a little bit pricey from my point of view, $500, but I get it. It has a lot of performance, it has 5G, looks really cool, it's portable. Actually, Apple showed off a very cool usage for it. Like, they showed an iPad mini coupled with an ultrasound device that will allow a doctor to take an ultrasound on the go. That's all pretty neat. Personally, I'm not that interested in the iPad mini, but the response from fans has been pretty good, pretty strong, and I think it's going to perform decently well for Apple in terms of sales as well. All in all, I would say the event introduced two very cool iPads. To me, in my eyes, the base iPad is the most relevant one because, well, from a sales standpoint, from a financial standpoint, it's going to have the biggest impact. It's still a fantastic deal. I think the iPad is going to do fantastic in terms of sales. The mini looks really cool. If I were a betting man, I would say that apart from all of the other products they're going to launch this fall, I think Apple's going to launch a new iPad Air, because right now it's the only iPad in the lineup that doesn't support center stage, which is a really cool functionality. So what do you think about the new iPads? Are you interested in any of them? Let me know in the comments below. And as usual, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to give it a thumbs up and to subscribe to the channel for more of my content. Thanks again, take care, and I'll see you on the next one.